I'm going to talk today about my experience with solar imaging, and I hope that we can enjoy it. But first, I would like to talk about safety. We are talking about the imaging the sun, looking at the sun, and I cannot sleep well if I don't tell this first. Okay? Of course, you should never look at the sun with the naked eye, but there are some other things that I would like you to point here, okay? The first one is never look to the sun through the viewfinder of a camera that it has no solar filter. Because you think that a camera is not a telescope, but it is. And it will concentrate the light on one point of your eye and will hit you blind immediately, okay? Another thing, never try to image the sun without a solar filter on the camera or on the telescope. If you don't do that, the CCD will be fried, okay? And once I was almost killing a camera that wasn't mine. I was taking a flat frame and I had a white towel in front of the camera and the telescope pointing at the sun. There was a gust of wind and it took out the towel. The camera shut down itself and it didn't turn it back on after 15 minutes. It almost got damaged. Okay, so you should never do that. And never look at telescope with proper solar filtering, okay? If you are imaging the sun with a camera that has a screen and a viewfinder, it may be better to put a piece of tape on the viewfinder so you don't accidentally go through it. Okay? Okay, why I do solar imaging? Well, I work and I always get up very early in the morning, so I cannot go late at night imaging the sky. So I have to change my patterns and I start imaging the sun. The sun is always changing. There are sunspots. There are sometimes that there is nothing on the sun. If you have an H-alpha telescope, you can see prominences. And it's fun to image the sun when the Memphis clouds are away. Okay? Very by accident. If you don't understand something, please let me know and I will try to explain better. Okay? For imaging the sun, as the exposures are very fast, you don't need an expensive mount. But if you have a good mount, it helps. Okay? Because you will have less error and you will have better tracking. And I will show you why. Okay? It can be done with any type of camera. You can use any camera to image the sun, as long as you have the proper filter. This photo was made during the transit of Venus 2 years ago with my cellular phone on a telescope. Okay? So you can do this. You can also image the moon with your cellular phone. And another thing, the eclipse looks like very nice in a picture. I will show you a little more about that. Here it is. Okay, now a little bit of history. In 2005, February 2005, I did my first image of the sun. Okay? I still have that solar filter. It's a laminate, okay, it's a film. And I made a support for that film that go into telescope. I'll show you later. And as you see, well, it's not very good. It's overexposed because I left the camera in automatic. And it overexposed the sun, okay? But that was the first time that I imaged the sun. And I still have that picture, so I wanted to show that. As you see, it was a relatively quick exposure, 1/06 of a second. It was doing an afocal mode. You will learn more about that in the next slides. That first picture was in preparation for this. I went to a place in Venezuela called Masigual that is in the Andean Mountains. Even when it's in the Andean Mountains, it was real hot there. It was like 104. And I assure you that in this chest, there was no beer. Okay. As you see, this is a telescope I use. You see, there it is, the film. And I painted it black, but this is cardboard. So you make a cylinder of cardboard and then put the film on it and then wrap it around. Okay? And you have your solar filter. The camera is just on top of the eyepiece, okay? And that was the way I take picture of that eclipse. The results, not bad. It was about half of the eclipse, and this on during the totality, okay? This, you see that this was better than this, his legs overexposed. Here the time on the camera was about 1/60 of a second. When it was getting very, very dark, I had to reduce the speed of the camera, and there was a moment that I couldn't hold and calculate, so I took the camera automatic and started shooting, okay? It's really hard to get, when it's all this dark, to get the real exposure on the camera. I have a page on my website that deals with all the things we went through and all the things we do during the trip. I didn't bring it, I forgot to bring it. There was a picture on Yahoo News that was my picture taking an image of the sun. I didn't see it until a friend here in Memphis showed me that. So now we are going to talk about the techniques, how you can make solar imaging. Basically, there are 3 techniques that I know, maybe there's another. The first one is a focal, the second one is prime focus, and then the third is IP projection. I don't have too much experience on this one. I have the adapter, but I have never tried. Okay? And the other part is how you capture the images. You can do a single frame, like the ones I did before. You can do multiple frames and stacking. I will show you an example of that. Or you can do a video, what is called local imaging. I will show you what is local imaging. It was not the good talk I had to talk about the pictures. Okay? In the focal mode, the telescope has an eyepiece and the camera focuses on the image of the eyepiece. So you put your telescope, you put your camera on infinity focus, and then you focus your telescope so the camera gets in focus, that image in focus. As you see, you can use any camera for this. Your cellular phone, this is a Casio camera, and it has here an adapter that holds the camera steady. If you try to make an image of the sun or the moon with your cellular phone, you will see that it's very hard to center the image because the exit pupil of the eyepiece is very small. And the lens on the cellular phone is very small too. So you need to have, or on another camera, you need to have an adapter that allows you to center the image without problem. Okay? This is another example where later on my quest of solar imaging, I found this eyepiece that is a 42mm eyepiece and it has a thread here that goes in the camera. So it's optically centered. You didn't go ahead.
Freddy, based on my recent experiences, we need some kind of method for holding a cell phone centered over the eyepiece. Is there some kind of thing that you could recommend on that?
Well, I haven't bought that, but they work okay. I have seen pictures taken with people that have that adapter and it works fine.
Orion makes one.
Right, okay.
Orion, yes.
It hooks on to your eyepiece and has another little clampy thing that holds your cell phone.
All right.
Well, I want to be over islands. The over island works cool. It's pretty good.
Okay, thank you.
If you see here, this is the eyepiece, and this is a screw that holds a bracket that gets to the eyepiece. From there, you have an axis that goes this way, and you have this piece of metal that has a slot, so you can move the camera up and down. Okay, so you tie it here first, and then you select the distance, so you can have everything centered. Okay? Of course, this is much better, but for this you need a camera that has a thread on the front too. Okay? In this camera, is this adapter that you see here. Okay. But the one around is okay. I have seen people taking pictures with that. I haven't used it, but it's okay. Let me go back here. There is one thing that this method has is if you are doing wide-angle images, you will have vignetting. That means that the edges of the image are darker than the center. And it's caused because of the projection of of the exit pupil is not a whole cylinder, it's a cone. So the further away you are on the cone, the less light you are getting from that point of light, okay? And I said, if you don't have an adapter, it's very hard to keep the image centered. The prime focus method is the one that I use most. And in this case, you generate the image from the telescope directly on the CCD or the film from the telescope, okay? So your detector receives the light from the telescope at the exact focal point of the telescope, and the image will be formed there, okay? This has several advantages. It has less gas on the light path, which means that you have less distortions, okay? It has more magnification because you have just directly the image into the telescope. You don't have the multiplier of the eyepiece in the middle, okay? You can use DSLR cameras like Canon's, okay? You take the picture and you see it immediately, okay? But you need two adapters, a T-ring and a T-thread. I will show you in the next image. Also, a cable release is highly recommended. On the picture I show you of the sun, on the totality of the clicks, I took like 10 images of that, but I didn't have a cable, so I just had to press the shutter. And that vibration ruined the images. So that was the only image that was relatively good. Okay. As I said, this is a most used method. The disadvantages is that if the camera is heavy, it will create stress on the focuser of the telescope. Okay? And needs a good mount because it's heavier. The telescope plus the camera is heavier. Now the cameras are lighter, but the heat is still, they're putting a lot of weight on the telescope. And this is the camera. This is a Canon DSLR camera. This is what they call the T-ring that is specific for a model of camera. And then you have the nose. This nose has a standard M42 thread that goes in the adapter, okay? And this is 1 1/4 inch draw tube, so it goes on the exact where you put the eyepiece on the telescope. And as I said before, this is it's a modified webcam by Celestron, and you see here there is the chip, okay? And you can see the size of the chip in relation to the 1 1/4 inch draw tube, okay? It's really small. And even with that size of chip, in this camera, the sun is bigger, the image is bigger than the chip. So you just take a little piece of the sun or what you are imaging, okay? The eyepiece projection, as I told you, I haven't tried much. It uses, this is your telescope, okay, and your focuser. And you have a special adapter that allows you to plug in your eyepiece, and then it has a thread on this side that goes to the camera. So remember when you are doing, I don't know if you are doing that, but when you are doing solar imaging projection, it's the same thing. You are projecting the image of the eyepiece onto the film of the camera to take the pictures, okay? It gives you more magnification, okay? But you have more distortion if the eyepiece are not good quality. For the sun, it doesn't matter much. But, there is a very good analysis where I took these images at this website. If anyone wants the reference, I can give it to you, no problem. Now, the techniques of image capture, okay? You can do a single frame, like I did before. Just point and shoot, and wait for the best. You can do multiple frames and stacking. That is usually when no video capability is available, or when trying to do a multiple exposure image, like this one, the Analima. This person had this camera pointed at the same point of the sky for a year, and took pictures at periodic times. So you see the image of the sun at the same time every day during a year, during the 12 months, okay? Then he took all those images and combined in only one, and this is what he do get. Okay? So You are doing multiple frame and stacking. And this other technique that is old but is getting more popular is the pinhole camera. You take a beer can, make a small hole in it, okay, and put photographic paper inside, and put the camera pointing to where the sun goes for 6 months or a year or whatever you want. And this is what happens. The sun will impress the paper. The smaller you make the hole in the camera, the better. And it will make the impression of the path of the sun. The dark spots that you see are points where the camera was pointing and the sun was covered by clouds. Okay? After you finish, you take your camera, take it to a lab, take the paper out, put it in a scanner, and scan it, and you will get the image. You don't need developer, you don't need fixer. It will be there. The image will be latent there, and when you scan it, it will show you. And this is a good project for schools. Okay? And I also have the reference for a website to do it. And here you see that the person that did this picture, later they did and put solstice on the summer and solstice on the winter. Okay? I have not done this yet, but I want to. It's part of the solar imaging. Okay, now the techniques of the video logging imaging. On this technique, you start a video of the object you want to see, the sun, and let the video run for a while. I have to change it because for some reason the video is not playing. Let me try it. So we have to escape here. What? Oh. Nice. Well, we won't see it. I am so sorry. It worked on my PC before. Well, basically, let me go back here. And we have to bear with me because I will have to go through all the images again, through the slides. Any questions so far? Okay, the idea here, I was going to show you the video of this quarter of the sun taken with my H-alpha telescope, H-alpha, and you see there is a filament here that you cannot see in white light, and there is a prominence here. And the idea was to show you what the image is when you zoom. Okay, you will see, and this day was particularly windy, so you will see the atmospheric distortion. And what we can do during the break, I can bring my PC here and we can see it here on the PC, okay? So you take the video and what you do with it. I use a software called Ray Stacks that allow selecting and stacking all those good frames. I take normally about 1,000 frames. Okay, depending on the camera, that may be 1 minute, 2 minutes, or 5 minutes, okay? And then you align and rotate them so they get the best images. You stack one on top of each other, and that way you reduce the signal to noise ratio on the image. When you do that, you can use techniques to improve the resolution of the image without increasing the noise. So you get a better image, okay? I will show you in a minute. So this is the software. In this case, I am ready to set the alignment points. You select several areas on the image and you consider your alignment points. And the software will try to match those images and discard the images that are distorted or were moved, okay? In this case, you see, I have 1,000 frames, okay? Once you do that, it will show you the next screen is when you stack. If you see the difference here between that image, I don't know if you can see it, but this image looks almost the same as the previous one, right? Then you, with what they call the layers, that is no more than the convolution process that Ross will tell you later, will show you later. It allows you, you have the stack of images, you improve the noise, the relation between signal and noise, and then you can enhance the image. That is what happens when you move the sliders here. You see the difference? That is before and after. Okay? Once you get here, and if you get this, great. But normally, this process may take 15 to 20 minutes depending on the number of frames you have and the size of the image. So you gotta be patient. Sometimes you wait 15 minutes and the points you took on the alignment as reference for your alignment are not good. So you gotta go. And this software is better. If it fails, close it and reopen it. Because it takes a lot of memory and it doesn't work very well when you try to do several videos one on top of each other, and it hangs the PC. So the best thing is close it and reopen it. Sometimes it doesn't even respond. It gets stuck. Okay. So now you have a black and white image of the sun where you can see more detail on the image. What's the next step? Well, the next step is going to Photoshop. And I created some macros in Photoshop that allow me to add the color. Once I add the color, I go to what they call the levels, and it allows me to choose the dynamic range of the image. As you see in this picture, there is a lot of black information that you don't need. Okay? So you adjust the levels and discard many of those black points. So now your image will have a better dynamic range. And the details come back to you. Okay? Then you can select auto levels, but it doesn't work well in astronomical images, so forget about that. So I do levels. Then you can do some saturation, brightness, and contrast. And at the end, you have your image. Okay? Okay. Another thing here, Photoshop also has some filters that allow you to enhance the picture. I didn't use on this one because it was good enough. But you can do the convolution, you can do what they call unsharp mask, that is a comparison of the image with a copy, and then they put on one on top of each other and just slightly deface that, and then they do what mathematically is called an XOR function, where what it does is makes the image sharper because you are taking information between two dots. It's a process you gotta try and test it, okay? Now let's talk about the equipment. My first solar telescope in Memphis, the other one I left in Caracas when I moved here in 2006, I sold it. My friends still use it. He doesn't use it much, but he uses it. And then I got this scope. This was done during, I don't remember, it was Cherry Farms. It was Mercury Transit.
Transit of Venus?
No, that was 3 years ago. This was before that. It was, but it was a long time ago.
The one before that?
Yes, maybe, yes. Okay, and this is what I use. I use a small telescope, a 66 millimeter apochromatic telescope, and I use a Bahadur filter. Okay, this filter gives you very good resolution. Is good to the eye. I use the stronger. There are two models. There is one for photography and there is one for visual. I use the visual even for photography, so you don't have to change it because the light is too much. Okay. This is the less expensive solar filter there is, but it has a problem. This is film, and if somebody goes and touches it, damages it. Or maybe even an accident, because if they touch too hard, the filter will get ripped off of the mount, and something can happen. So when I use this, I'm normally very scared of not allowing the kids go around. Okay, that's why I put it here. That is not recommended with kids. Okay, the mount is an equivalent of a celestial mount. with tracking. And then what you see here, my specially designed canopy made of a carton box with holes on the back so I can pass the cables and I can. Here you see a TV set that I use when I image with the old Casio camera that died, so I'm not using that anymore. I also use an H-alpha telescope. This telescope produces light in H-alpha and allows observing the prominence that you saw and filaments, and for sunspots it's not very good because they don't get very good contrast. It's not the same thing, but then you can see them through the telescope, okay? The only problem is that the technology for filtering that is here, the filter is here, okay, is very expensive, right? And the telescope is expensive. This telescope runs about for $700, and it's just this size. Okay, it has a 40 millimeter diameter on the lens, and I just mounted it on my mount. I don't have this tripod. I got it cheaper because I don't want the case. I don't want the tripod. I just want the telescope. Okay, and they sold it to me, but I found a problem. The eyepiece holder of this specific model was much longer than the previous one, and my camera didn't focus with it. Okay. And you know, I started asking, and I went to, there were several chatting rooms and bulletin boards and a lot of stuff, and finally I got out with a group, and somebody told me, measure the distance of your eyepiece holder. Voila, 5 millimeter difference. Okay? So what I did, I went to one of the members that has a lathe, Lee Cole, and we ground 5 millimeters from here. Okay? We took those 5 millimeters, and it was hard because he didn't want to use any cooling fluid because he was scared, because there are filters inside the eyepiece holder. So we had to do that without any kind of liquid. So it got very, very hot, and it's very hard to manage. Then we have to make again the hole for the screw that holds the eyepiece, because we took it out. Okay, the 5 millimeter were just on the point where the screw was. So there was no point for the screw. Another hole, and that's the reason why I say it's modified. But now it works fine. Okay? And the other one that I use is a mid. This is 125. This is about 6 inches. Okay, and I use that with an Orion filter. And this has a focal length of 1900 millimeters. So it's for zooming in into the sun and get more detail than you get with the 66 or the H-alpha. Okay. This filter gives you a light that is yellow-orange. It feels more natural than the white light to me, than the one light that the other filter gives you. But it's really good. I like it. Okay. It's long focal distance, so you put any camera there and you just see a small, tiny part of the sun. Maybe you even can get a sunspot, a complete sunspot on the camera if you are using a webcam. Okay. And this is the actual setup. And you see the 66 millimeter, the ETX with the solar filter, and the Coronado PST here. And this is a special balancing system because, of course, balance this is not pretty easy. Okay? One more thing. Each telescope has a motorized focuser. I don't know if you are ever trying to watch the sun. I know Bill has. It is very hard. It's hard. Okay? And focusing on a camera is really hard. So what I do, I just plug in my camera. As you see here, each telescope has a motor. This is the motor for the William optics. The Coronado has a motor. I always have another detail thing. The Coronado has a motor on the tuning ring and a motor on the focuser. So I connect my cameras. I have focuser selector, so I can choose which telescope I can control from my PC in the garage or inside the house. Okay? And that way I can focus. And to show you how hard it is, I took some of the pictures without changing anything but the focus. I will show you that. This is the controller. You see, these are the outputs for each of the telescopes. Okay? There is a controller that can be on the base of the telescope or can be with me. Okay? And this cable connects connects to the base of the telescope, the controller. Okay? On my PC, I have this that is the controller when I can go north, south, east, west. I can control the speed of how these keys work. And I have here focus control, the speed here and in and out. So I just select here, I want to check output 1, I know that is the H-alpha telescope. I select output 1, and anything I do here will affect that telescope. Okay? So I don't have to walk back and forth.
We have a question.
Yes. When you get one of those, does it replace the focuser on the telescope, or does it hook up to it and turn the knobs, or how does
It turns the knobs.
It turns the knobs?
Yes.
Okay.
The best one, there are several companies that make focusers. The best are the ones made by Autofocus, something like that. Those are expensive. I asked them for a focuser for my William Optics. And they say, well, we don't have it, but we can make you a prototype for $400. Oh, thank you so much. Don't call me, I will call you. And I went then to Orion and bought Orion has a focuser that has, they have several other focusers that have motor, and the motor is coming to know them. So they have a bunch of small pieces of metal that allows you to center your focuser in relation to your knobs, and you can make it work. Okay? Any other questions? Okay, now the cameras. I didn't put here the first two cameras because those were point and shoot cameras and they died. The first one died when my daughter took it to a travel and it fell somewhere and never worked again. And I disassembled it, and the zoom on the lens was damaged, so the camera didn't come out. So, gone. And the Casio, one day I was going to Village Creek, there was a beautiful sunspot, and I tried to make some pictures, and the battery went down, and the camera died. And never came back up, no matter how new batteries I put in, nothing. So, never buy a Casio camera again. So my first camera was a Selection Decima, that was the one that I showed you before. It's the small adaptive webcam with a small CCD. It's 640 for 480 and 8 bits color. Okay? It is USB 1, which means it's very slow, and it uses compression of video, lossy, which means that when you compress the information, what you get after the compressing is not exact copy of what it was before. If you have heard of WinZip, you compress it, and you compress it, and the result is the same. It's exact file. With lossy compression, you lose quality. Okay? So this camera, I modified it with software, and using a trick that is called debayering. It allows you to take pictures at 5 frames per second without compression. But it's slow, it's 5 frames per second. So if you want 1,000 images of the sun, you gotta be there for 5 minutes or something like that. Okay? Then I got the Celestial Nexima 5, that is a 5 megapixel camera. Okay? It's USB 2 and can be used in a non-compressed video mode. That is what I use. Okay? I don't like compression at all, because compression in video is lousy. It's the same thing. If you have your TV on either Comcast or DirecTV, if there is a dark scene, you will start seeing the noise. That is because the system is not able to reproduce exactly what was before. So you get noise, and you start seeing stuff, artifacts, what they call. So this camera works in a non-compressed mode, and it's very good for planets because it has a very small size of pixel, 2.2 micron. Normally, for imaging the planet, if you want detail, you at least need 100 pixel size of the planet. Anything lower than 100 pixel size will have no, it's not worth it because the image will not be good. You will not have details. So with this one, having 2.2 micron, even with a small telescope, you can get a good image of the planet. Then I got the AR Reality 3 in video mode. I will show you in a moment. This camera is good for long exposure, okay, when you want to photograph nebulas, globular clusters, anything that needs low exposure. Okay, but I can use it for solar imaging, that is what I'm talking about, using us in video mode. In this case, they run a software that programs the camera so it becomes a huge webcam. A webcam the size of the CCD of the camera. So you have very high number of pixels at a wide angle. Okay, so the image of the sun will fit inside it perfectly. Okay, and the last one for taking H-alpha is a DMK. It has a 0.46 micron. It's 1280-960. This is a black and white camera, and it has a fixed bit rate that is 15 frames per second. 15. Okay. Of course, the image is black and white and needs to be colorized, but you know that I can do very easily with Photoshop. And this camera, I was not with the camera. I bought this camera on eBay used. And it was announced as a model that is 21, that is half the resolution of this one. When the camera arrived, I said, but this guy was wrong. I tried to contact him, he didn't contact me anymore. The only problem, the camera was missing the ring where the eyepiece goes. So I had to contact the factory. They sent me the ring along with two very tiny screws that hold it, and the shipment was lost. UPS lost the shipment. It was no FedEx template.
No FedEx.
It was UPS. So I had to wait another 2 weeks, and they finally sent me the ring, the screws, and the image is working now. Okay. Now, okay, how do I capture the images with this camera? For each camera, I have run on different software. For the first one, next image, I use a tool called K360 Tools. It's free. Then I use, this is the software that allows me to use the modification for allowing you to compress it, not compress the image. This is a utility that allows you a very nice screen where you can control exposure, contrast, brightness, everything. And then the AVI RAW is the one that takes that uncompressed video and converts it in a color image file for final processing. The difference between the video made with this software and the one exposed is like, normally a video with raw conversion is about maybe 1 gig. When you go here, it can go to 20 gig. Okay? For the selection next image, I use the software that came with it. It's pretty good. It allows you to do a lot of changes and has a utility. For example, if I don't know, I send an image, a link to a guy that had the camera pointed to the sun for 8 hours, looking at prominence. He used this software, a software similar to this, that was taking pictures every number of seconds, by any 10 seconds, any 15 seconds. So he was tracking the sun, and he was able to capture the evolution of the prominence. So you can see it moving. It was really nice. For the Canon, it's a free utility tool. That is the one that converts your Canon in a webcam. Okay? And then the utility from the camera that allows you Even when you have the camera there, you can see the image here on your PC, adjust focus, adjust brightness, okay? And there you go. For the DM key, I use the eye capture. If you see these two software are almost the same, it's the same company. Celestron buys this camera from these guys. This is a German company, DMK. For processing, I have ready stats, file 1 and 6, depending. Sometimes if I get better result with 5, sometimes I get a better result with 6. So, Adobe Photoshop, that allows you to adjust the light curves, contrast, brightness, colorization. And then, even when you don't think that I can, that I know how to use that, I don't know how to put titles in Photoshop. It gets very bad with me. So what I do, I just paint.
The genius at home with Photoshop is my girl. Our girl.
Okay, other software. This is interesting. This is a software, it's free too, that giving a camera, a telescope and a camera, and knowing the pixel size and the number of pixels, allows you to know exactly. First of all, it compares your camera with a standard 35mm film, the CCD on your camera, okay? And then you select here the object you want to see or image, okay? And it will show you in this window the relative size of the object in the camera when you are imaging it. Okay, in this case, I'm talking about the sun, it's the sun, but you can select here Andromeda, M33, M57, whatever you need. And you will see, and you can choose the best option on telescope camera combination to get that. In this case, this was with the Coronado and the Canon, I get this, okay? For example, if I use the mid telescope, you see that with the same camera, I just can see a small piece of the sun, okay? And with the same camera and the William optics, it's a little bit smaller, okay? So with this you can plan what combination of camera, Barlow, you see here there is a factor of Barlow 2. I will show you why in a minute. Now I'm going to show you what I did last week. I took EOS camera and said, okay, I'm going to take a picture like somebody's going to take his camera and put it in a telescope with a solar filter. What they are going to get if they do that on each of the 3 telescopes, okay? So, these are unedited images. I did nothing on those images. I focused to the viewfinder with electrical focus, but with a manual control. The focus of the camera wasn't automatic. Well, I was not using the lens. Okay. The exposure was chosen by the camera on P mode. And in order to achieve focus on the Coronado, I had to use a barrel. Even when remember that you said that I reduced 5mm, the size of the eyepiece holder is not good enough for the Canon. So I have to use a barrel that extends the focal distance and allows me to focus. Okay? And the image was scaled to fit the whole frame. So the whole frame of the image is of the same size. So here, you have the one taken with the Coronado PSD. You see, it captures some prominences here. The rest is overexposed, okay? Because I left the camera automatic, and the camera takes, I don't know what they use, they take an average between the dark and the bright, and they decide the exposure, okay? If I was going to control the exposure, I probably would get a better exposure, but the idea was just to take a snapshot, okay? Then, this is with the mid ETX 125. And if you see this is not an extraterrestrial. This is a piece of debris on the lens. Okay? I didn't discover life. This is something you need to be careful, okay? Any piece of debris on your CCD, on your barrel, on your optical train will give you this. Okay? And I was focusing on the sun. So I didn't have a way of looking at that until I took the picture and put it on my PC and say, oh God. Well, this will serve as a lesson, okay? This will work as a lesson. So you need to be sure that you don't have any kind of debris inside. And you see, this is a sunspot. What I did, I tried to center all the sunspot here. You see the sunspot here? That is the same you have here. Okay? And you see that everything is covered by that image of the sun. And the color is almost exactly the same as what you see with the Orion filter. And then I have the exposure with the white light filter, overexposed too. Okay? There are no, there is nothing here that can show any light signs. So it's overexposed, but it's there. That is the light you see. So the idea of this was that you can see what to expect from H-alpha, from Orion filter, and the other filter with the three telescopes. Okay, these are the reference. This is the article I told you about the solarography with the beer can and making the pinhole, and it's something that I think we should try that. I can give you those and all these reference later if you want. Okay, and probably won't work. A piece of advice, keep your eye open. Let me see if it works. You can see that. Okay? Plain running through. Okay? And this is a very low resolution video because it's too big, the one that I took. But if you see, you can see the turbulence from the engines.
Yeah.
Okay?
I've
Keep
seen
your eyes
that,
open.
I've seen that many times. It's you know, it's surprising. The sun is covering half a degree of sky.
Exactly.
And it's amazing how many times I have seen an airplane
Going
zoom
through.
across that little tiny patch of
A
sky.
lot of planes.
Yes. And birds too. A lot of birds.
And you can also, satellites cross in front of it as well. When
Yeah,
I
well,
image the
there
moon
is
out
a
of the sun, I
guy.
often will have see a satellite moving.
There is a guy that travels to every place in the world when the station is going to cross in front of the sun, and you can imagine. He has he with a group of scientists developed an application in Java that, given your latitude and longitude, will give you the next occurrence of that crossing of the space station in your area. So he chooses points that are closest to his house, and he's an expert taking those pictures. He has become an expert. And you don't need tracking, you just need to point at the sun, and that's it, and wait for it to go through. Questions? Yes.
Freddy, are you using the full version of Photoshop or the elements there?
I'm using a CS2 version, a very old one,
Okay.
okay, that I had to do a trick to install Windows 7. But it works.
And the macros you have, are those you've written yourself for the coloring? You mentioned macros.
Yes, I make the macros. I can send you that if you want.
Okay.
Send me an email, I will. Okay?
What was the name of the Canon camera you had? Did you say it was
EOS D3.
EOS D3?
Rebel.
We can go back.
D3 Rebel.
The Rebel. Yes, it's more known as. There is a new model, the T5, the Rebel T5. Let me look for it. There it is.
Okay, Canon EOS Rebel.
But you won't find that one. You will find the 33i or 33i. That has a little more resolution, but it was fine.
Okay, thank you.
The EOS 16 series is pretty similar to that too.
Yes. Yes. More expensive. Oh, poor man. Okay, so any other questions?
What filter did you use with the Rebel T3 I guess you had it hooked up to the ETX.
Yes, yes. I use the filter here. You see, let me go back. You see here.
Okay, yeah, okay.
This is the Orion filter.
Okay.
Okay? It's about $79 or something like that here, you see.
Is that Mylar between glass?
This is glass with several layers of a metal compound.
Probably chromium.
Yeah,
probably.
yeah.
That's what mine is.
Yeah. It's very robust and it's better than this one. This one, you know, if you touch it, you can. You can buy well, as a matter of fact, this is the second or third one. You can buy the guy that sells these, Gina, he sells a square, a small piece of fruit that you then cut and put it back and glue it, okay? So it is cheap and it works fine. So the only thing you gotta be careful when there are kids, you know, they don't go, oh, somebody gets hurt, you know? I don't have the picture of the telescope, but you can see the models here. I thought I was going to be okay here. Okay, any more questions?
Do you know if there's a good reference or resource website with camera specs, like the pixel widths and chip specs? So I know that's handy information to have. You had that estimation software earlier.
To this website that is called Quick Cam Imaging. Here. This is a website that was founded by the pioneers of the webcam imaging.
Okay, thank you.
Okay? There is a lot of stuff there. So you can start there and start learning, okay? There are many webcams that you can modify because they start, okay, let's take a webcam and we can take pictures of planets, but then they figured out, well, we can modify the webcam to make it take long exposures. So they modify the camera, they modify the software, and through the parallel port of a PC, they can control some lines on the camera and they can change the speed of the shutter or leave the shutter open or closed. Okay, and that way they were able to make images of that sky object with a webcam. And particularly on this webcam, when it went out, I made the modifications for this Celestron camera, and Celestron put my web page on their reference. Okay, and it was fun, but it's very noisy, so it's not the best camera. You can get better results with an EOS camera or any other new camera like the Mavic Cam or whatever. Any more questions?
Sorry, I have one more.
Go ahead.
On the, I believe you were talking about the next image cameras, and you mentioned that one of them could run in uncompressed mode, but it was restricted to 5 frames a second. Was that
No.
next image or the 5?
The one restricted to 5 frames a second is the next image 1.
Okay.
Okay, the next image. The next image 5, you can go to uncompressed video, but if you use the full resolution of the camera, then not even a USB bus will be enough for transmitting the signal. So when you use the full resolution of the camera and go to color, you can get 6 frames per second, no more than that.
Okay. It's a bandwidth limitation, basically. Yeah.
It's a bandwidth limitation, yes. You need to send a lot of information over a small pipe. Any other questions? Well, I hope I didn't bore you.